Darren, I got one more item here. We can go to press. When people call me up here at the newspaper office, I always ask them how things are going. And a lot of them say, well, they can't complain. But they find a way. I'm not saying all the calls and letters we get here are complaints. Some of them are lawsuits. But just listen to this letter to the editor. Dear sir, as we stand at the threshold of a new century, what hope can there be for the fate of mankind? Anarchists strike at the very heart of civilization. Our youth lack any sense of direction. And each day the newspapers carry fresh stories of appalling murder and violence in the streets. As dated Larkspur, March 14th, 1901. Going to my weekly column, 100 years ago today. Those who do not know history are condemned to repeat the mistakes of the past. Knowing history enables us to concentrate on making new mistakes. I always suspected I was the only one that read this column, till I dropped it a couple of months ago. There was a great outcry from one person. Walt Wingfield. And I can't afford to antagonize Walt because he fills the other side of the page with the letter from Wingfield Farm, and everybody reads that. Walt Wingfield's an ex-chairman of the board turned farmer. He used to be chairman and chief executive officer of McFeeters, Bartlett and Hendry, big brokerage house down on Bay Street. 4 years ago, he bought 100 acres out in the 7th concession of Persephone Township and tried to make a living as a farmer. Since then, he's taken a lot of the pressure off me to find news stories about economic catastrophe and property damage. Last year, he married Maggie, the girl next door. She left a life of hard work and poverty on the farm she shared with her brother, Freddie, and settled down to a life of hard work and poverty with Walt. Walt reached a career compromise. He now works part-time at the brokerage to subsidize his part-time farming. I asked him how he'd compare the two professions. Walt said, in farming, the insider information is legal, but it's much harder to come by. His first letter back from the honeymoon went like this.
Dear Ed, I left the office early today and caught the train out of the city back to Larkspur. Maggie had a dinner meeting of the Women's Institute to get ready for, and she was expecting me home to do chores. It used to bother me that the whole train had to be stopped in Larkspur just to let me off. Then it carried on up to Port Petunia before going back to the city. Tonight, as soon as I stepped off, it shifted gears and chugged back the way it came. I think if I stop riding this train, we won't have one. The station's boarded up now, and the parking lot is usually deserted, except for whoever comes to pick me up. This evening, there was no sign of Maggie, which puzzled me because she's always punctual. The only vehicle in the lot was a 10-wheel Freightliner diesel truck tractor. The motto on the hood read, "Kick butt." There was a blast in the air horns, and Maggie leaned out the window.
Come on, Walt, I'm late.
I jumped up on the running board and climbed up into the cab.
The Institute supper starts at 6. I have to get the casserole over to the hall.
It's a big casserole, is it?
The water pump's gone on the 4x4. It's over at Ron's getting fixed.
So, where did this come from?
This is Ron's loaner. I like it. It's big, but it sure gets around in the snow.
So we taking this to the dinner tonight?
No, the 4x4 should be fixed by now. And it's a supper, Walt, not a dinner. Dinner's in the middle of the day.
Oh, right, I forgot. But you're not dressed.
The pipes burst at the store. I left my niece mopping up. I have to deliver these 2 orders and get back and close up. But it's going to take me another hour, so I want you to take the 4x4 down to the farm, do the chores, iron my blue dress, leave it on the door, and take the casserole up to the hall. I'll meet you there. Oh, and feed Spike.
Spike the Hound started life next door with Maggie and her brother Freddie as an outside dog. In my first year here, he defected to my place and became an inside dog. When I carried Maggie over the threshold, she carried Spike back outside. This remains a bone of some contention between them. Maggie wheeled into Ron's garage and rolled down the window.
Is that water pump done, Ronnie?
Done like a dinner, Maggie. But we got you going. Found you a low mileage replacement from the road superintendent's truck. He won't be needing his until after the Good Roads Convention.
Thanks, Ronnie. Now, Walt, do you remember what you have to do?
Yeah, I take the 4x4 down to the farm, do the chores, iron the dress.
The blue dress.
I iron the blue dress, leave it on the door, and take the casserole up to the hall. You'll meet me there. And feed Spike.
Good. Nice to see you, dear.
I climbed out of the Freightliner, and Maggie roared off. The keys are in it, Ron. Maggie calls it the casserole, but it isn't like any casserole you or I were brought up on. It's more of a ham and egg pie. And it's delicious. We hardly ever get it at home because Maggie gets asked to make it for every big dinner out. I mean supper. As the 4x4 bumped down the lane of the farm, I could almost smell it cooking. But as soon as I opened the door, I could tell something was wrong. There, in the middle of the kitchen carpet, was Maggie's good casserole dish, licked clean, and Spike standing beside it. Spike, did you eat Maggie's casserole? I'll take that as a yes. I hope confession is good for your soul. You know what Maggie will say? You'll be an outside dog with no chance of parole. And I may be out there with you. My gosh, what am I going to do about the dinner? I phoned Freddie, Maggie's brother. Freddie lives on the farm next door. He's been getting by with a part-time housekeeper since Maggie and I were married. Freddie?
How are you now, Walt?
Fine. Well, not so fine. Spike just ate the casserole Maggie made for the Institute.
Gollies. Jeez. And he's not even a member, is he?
This isn't funny, Freddie. You know how Maggie is about the Institute. Would she have any of her old recipe books up there? The dinner starts in an hour and a half.
Supper, Walt. Dinner's in the middle of the day. But come on up. No, I live with that woman for 37 years. I know all her recipes. We'll put it together for you.
In 9 minutes flat, I was there. In the old days, the kitchen was the only place at Freddie's farm where anything worked. But in the 6 months since Maggie left, the jungle has reclaimed its own. Say, Freddie, why don't we do this down at my place?
Nah, just clear away a spot here. I remember how this thing goes. First, you got to have toast. Oh yeah, lots of toast. You brought the eggs and the ham?
Yeah, right here. Do you cook the noodles first?
No. No, you just put in lots of water.